In the previous video, we show how when we inject a union select type of attack, like the one we in here, this is actually the one that we use, how you can integrate with the XGS appliance and Curator to have an offense that only fires when the target is vulnerable to union select. So I'm going to show you what we did in the remote system that we have, the XGS. I don't have it on this demo system here, but basically this is a view that I capture of the log activity, and here's when we saw that our XGS appliance sent a log event for the detection of that union select. So what we did is that we double click on that event and we got to this second screen. And the key here is to click on here where it says map event. And when you do that, we're going to be able to get the QID that identifies that event. And a QID is an identifier that QRadar sets for every individual event. There are thousands and thousands of them, and you can even create your very own one. But in here, that this is actually telling us automatically that this is an exploit, a web exploit, and here's the particular QID. That's all we need to create our rule in Curator. So let's go to Curator, and we are here on the Offenses tab. We're going to click on the Rules, and we're going to create a new rule. We go here on the Action and create a new event rule. And we, on the wizard, we click Next. We click Next. And we're going to be actually determine that we want to fire on that particular QID. So what we do here on the search, we put QID, and very simply we find when the QID is one of the following, and we just type that QID that we know that fires when this thing is detected. 5756373, I believe it was. And this is the one. So it is added in there, and you see it's very well identified that this is a union select type of incident, and voila. So now we have an offense that fires whenever SQL injection is seen. But now we need to complement these rules and say, well, fire only when the actual device is vulnerable to that type of attack. So what we need to do here is complement that rule, make that rule more specific, and we need to associate that with an event category of a SQL injection. Event category, so that's what we are looking for. And the category, not one, but just not two, but just one. And in the categories, I'm going to put SQL injection. I'm going to put SQL in here, and this is the one. It's actually, this is going to continue the AND on the offense and say, well, when I find an exploit of a SQL injection, and the last thing we need to do is, well, we need to make it fire when the destination is vulnerable. And that's the one we want, precisely there. And when the destination is vulnerable to current, which is that current exploit on any port. We can specify on port 80 if we want to, but if we just want to leave it like that, we can just put it like that, and then we can say that the name that we're going to give here is SQL, and I tried this before, SQL injection when let's put when target is vulnerable. And that's the name of my rule. So I click Next. And what do I want to do? I can play with the severity, credibility, and relevance, and I can specify the value I want to. I can put annotations to explain, you know, what is it that we are doing in here, you know. When people see that offense fire, they get more information. I can, as a consequence of that, I can fire another event, send an email, send a syslog to somebody, you know, forward the destination. I mean, I can add the components to a reference set, for example, the IP addresses that are vulnerable. I can trigger a scan to you know, find out all these good things. And here the rule is enable, and that's all I need to do. I can just click on finish here, and I have created a rule that fires only when I see SQL injection going to an IP that is actually vulnerable to that type of attack.